Bueno? Did he? Is he on there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes. All right. Do I go back?
Because of the desk?
No.
Oh, somebody gave him a note.
No.
Do you like me? Yes, no.
Spitballs.
No, pass the notes, yeah. Or no, I like
So we are,
it, because I know somebody that likes you.
What are you doing Friday night?
No.
See, I work every day Saturday, except these days.
so,
Are we ready?
yes, we're ready to go.
All right. Who's gonna call the meeting to order?
Mr. Farquharson, are you going to chair the meeting this morning?
Looks like he's muted. Mr. Snipe, if Mr. Farquharson is unable to chair the meeting, you can chair it.
Would you repeat that, Ms. Shrimp?
If Mr. Farquharson is unable to chair, Mr. Snipe, you can chair as
Okay,
vice.
okay, we'll do that then. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the December 5th, 2024 Allegheny County Board of Property Assessments and Appeal and Review meeting. Let's call our meeting to order. Ms. Pianza, would you do a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Bergestein is online but not available, I guess. Mr. Snipe,
I'm here online.
Mr. Sully,
Here.
Ms. Thornton Lara,
Here.
Ms. Montgomery is absent. I'm here. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from our November 21st, 2024 meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I would move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Is anyone present for public comment?
You have a motion and a second. You need to call that vote as a voice vote, Mr. Snipe.
Okay, Ms.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 No.
Any opposed? Emotion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone present for public? Do
Excuse
you have
me.
anyone present? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I finally was able to unmute. I don't have much of a voice. Obviously, I can't share today. So thank you for taking over.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Farquharson, for being present as well. Do we have anyone present for public comment this morning?
Mr. Troutman?
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
Do I have the floor?
Yes, you do.
Okay, thank you, and good morning to all. My name is David K. Troutman. I'm a licensed attorney in the Commonwealth. I think some of you might know me. I am here on behalf of our client Elmer Parione, P-A-R-I-O-N-A. He represents Holmes Trust, or he owns, I'm sorry, Holmes Trust number 200524. Mr. Parione, for what it's worth, was a previous client. He filed an appeal on a piece of property that he purchased, and he received notice of his appeal application being received from the county, indicating that the appeal was received and there were some instructions. This mailing was dated October 3rd of 2024. Approximately 1 month later, he did recall having a conversation with somebody, I believe from your all's office, and then the next thing he received was a notice of withdrawn assessment hearing. That's when he contacted me. Mr. Parione is not from this country. He has English as his second language. frankly, I even have a little trouble understanding them sometimes. And we contacted the board. We've also contacted the school district, Mr. John Vogel. And Mr. Vogel indicated to us that he would not oppose a rescheduling of this matter. So given Mr. Peroni's difficulty sometimes with the English language, the fact that he filed the appeal looks like it's a good appeal for a property owner who might be seeking reduction based upon the purchase price and the current assessed value. I would ask that the board consider reinstating the appeal for Mr. Peroni and the organization that he owns, which is Holmes Trust number 200524, parcel ID 175-M-202. The property address is 524 Holmes Street, 15221. Thank you.
Mr. Snipe,
Yes, yes.
I would like us to research this and we'll get back to Mr. Troutman. Barbara, you
Yes.
have the
Yes.
parcel.
Parcel
ID?
175M
That's what we're gonna
to,
research.
Okay, good.
What year?
That's what we're gonna.
what tax year? Okay, yeah.
I have it up.
2025.
But we don't need a motion.
No.
Okay, that's all. Next.
Is there anything else I can do for you folks?
No, we're good.
Okay, do you want me to drop off the meeting?
Totally up to you, Mr. Troutman. You're welcome to stay and observe, or you're welcome to go back to your day.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to depart the area. Thank you for your time and for your consideration, and stay warm.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next, we have Mr. Warner on as well. Mr. Warner?
He's on there. Is he on mute?
He's on mute.
I'm just observing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public comment this morning?
I don't see anyone else on here, Mr. Snipe.
Okay, we're going to move on to our solicitor's report. Ms. Shrimp?
Thank you, Mr. Snipe. I have two items for consideration today. The first is lot and block 222, C as in cat, 309, 311, and 313. This is 3 parcels that were involved in a multi-parcel sale for $38,000 for all 3. They're vacant lots. This was a sale in 2023. They went through a hearing process, and for some reason, the dispositions came out for each of them at 35.7, which was the 38.5 times the CLR, instead of splitting it between each parcel. So it's an error correction, and my recommendation is to rescind the dispositions and reissue with the corrected values, which would take each to a land-only value of $11,900 for parcels 222C as in cap 309, 222C as in cap 311, and 222C as in cap 313.
I have a question before we, on this. I think I've seen this. The allocation is based on the recommendation of the board on the current market value. Is that correct?
Correct.
So all we're doing is allocating the third and the third.
Correct.
Then I would move that item 4A on our agenda, parcel ID 222C 309, 311, and 313 be rescinded and reissued with the third, and the third.
Yes.
Current market value. Tax year 2025.
2024.
2024, I'm sorry. Is that on there? No.
It's not.
Okay, 2024. We're good. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion's carried. The second item, Ms. Shrimp?
I have one other item. It's 254 or 256 K is in Kangaroo 20. This is a vacant parcel. It's unimproved. There's not any paving or anything like that on it. It received a disposition that allocated land and building. So 421,600 for building and 105,400 for land. Obviously, it's all land. I'm asking for an error correction to rescind the disposition and issue with the corrected value, which is $527,000 to land only.
I'd like to move that we rescind and reissue parcel ID 256K20. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Snipe. That's all I have.
Okay, takes us to our appeals department. Ms. Brown?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. So you have received the appeals report from 2020, tax year 2020 through 2025. We are scheduled through December 20th. We're scheduled out through December 20th, which we have approximately 154 appeals still to be heard. Either they were postponed or we just still need to get them scheduled for various tax years. And that would probably most likely include any outstanding ones for 25 as well as tax year 2024 and a few stragglers for 23. But I do have a few questions with regard to the schedule through December 20th. Is BPAAR expecting OPA to schedule hearings the week of Christmas and or the last week of December? And if so, when?
Mr. Snipe, if I may?
Yes, please.
Yes, if it's a county work day and we have county employees here, yes. My answer is yes, if it's a work day. We've had this discussion before about, I don't know if everyone recalls the day before Thanksgiving, and the board had to move to just tell the appeals division of OPA to schedule them. But I'm of the opinion that, the reason the county moved the calendar was to get these appeals done ASAP before the tax bills went out. So I don't think I'll ask our solicitor, do I have to move that on a work day we have to have hearings?
No, usually this is done administratively. My question would be, and I don't know county history here. Is it usually that they let people go home early on the day?
Whose day?
Well, I mean, head administration sometimes will say, oh, go ahead and leave a couple hours early on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
If that happens,
They do, yeah.
maybe Christmas Eve isn't the day to schedule hearings because it could be up in the air and suddenly you get an email saying you can go home early. I know that happens in a lot of offices where.
And currently,
Hold on, please.
And that's why I was just asking, like, I don't know what the county does.
Okay, we had a situation where the county manager said that people could leave at noon, and we were able to do 180 hearings that day. We have the hearing officers who come in, and they're not subject to the rules of county employees. And I'm just saying, if we schedule and someone wants to postpone, that's my point.
But our board administrator is a county employee, and that would be, she wouldn't be able to benefit from the going home at noon if we would do
I'm
that.
okay with Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
But
that's all.
every other workday, I believe these should be scheduled. There have been problems in the past with the 21 days and the 30 days. I don't know why. I did talk to the chief assessor right before the meeting. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, but I'm always under the assumption that we're just gonna, you file an appeal and we send you notice and you come in, the hearing is heard. But back to the original question, yes, we should schedule appeals. And I'm gonna ask Ms. Brown, would we have to waive the 21-day rule because you didn't send them out?
No. So here's the thing. So what we can do is schedule anything that might be postponed that has not been requested with a 90-day extension. We have quite a few of those that were awaiting appraisal reports. And there are quite a few that the attorneys have reached out and asked, and I do believe that BPAAR has agreed to accept the extension as stated, which in many cases is going to take us into either late January or the first week of February. So it's not like we have 5 or 6 days that we need to schedule based on this. And then you have to also take into consideration staffing for the representatives. So in pre-meetings, before the appeal season opened, with the chair, the board administrator, the board solicitor, we had proposed that we would do hearings through December 20th, primarily for staffing purposes. And again, I hear what you're saying about having the hearing officers present and they can do what they can do. But what you won't get possibly is the support from possibly the appeals department because of people's vacations that have been scheduled. So again, I can schedule them.
I
But
would
again, you might
prefer,
not have the support that would be required on the day of a hearing. And just like Ms. Shrimp said, we don't get notification in advance of any privileges that are granted to us the day before the holiday until sometimes that day. So we would be scurrying to, first of all, make sure that everything is in order so that if we are all gone, Ms. Baldwin and or any of the hearing officers would have everything available to them. So again, if you want them scheduled, there will be a very small amount that will be scheduled. And I've already have some boards built for future days. But again, we just haven't sent anything yet. So again, postponements possibly might be few and far between. The 30th and 31st certainly can have, well, the 30th and 31st, if we schedule them, they would have to be residential because of the timing of everything.
correct, but what I said was the board could waive that.
They could, and again, what I'm
Only
saying to you is in the
because,
pre-meetings.
Well, let me ask this question, because this is an important question. How many, when we're talking about how many appeals do we still need to schedule, how many do we still need to schedule? We need hundreds.
Approximately
I'll
154,
hear.
but we're still getting postponements in.
Yeah, Ms. Brown, the thing is, we're in the first week of December. It would be, we usually send out a schedule to our hearing officers for the month. And then it's not written in stone, but it's a plan. And it just seems like we go from meeting to meeting where should we have hearings or not? And I say, get them done. Unless the boards wish, and they would have to move, let's not have hearings. I'm just one board member and I'm not dictating to my board members, but let's get these finished before the tax bills go out. Have the hearings.
45
That's what I'm
hearings.
saying.
Isn't that one day?
Well, I heard 27 one day.
Yeah, I guess that's my question.
That's two.
Like, instead of saying we're gonna schedule, 2 whole weeks. If we're talking 45 appeals that haven't been heard once, that's a day of hearings.
Yes.
Can't we just pick one day and do them on one day?
Well, I'm gonna ask Ms. Brown that.
That would depend on, again, the 90-day window for those that wanted the appraisal report. Are we not honoring that anymore?
Ms. Brown, wouldn't those be the postponements?
Those are postponements.
Yeah. Is there a list of these 90-day,
I have the request from
if
the
you could send it to
representatives.
Ms. Brown, yeah, just so I know. Yeah, I'm okay with the 90-day if they needed an appraisal, but I'm just saying scheduling, they can postpone. And, if we schedule once and they want to postpone. If the school district attorneys aren't available or they're short-staffed, that's their problem, not ours.
And they can postpone as well.
Correct.
We have
I'm okay
45.
with that.
We're sitting here having a long conversation over 45 appeals. I guess that's what I'm just trying to say, magnitude-wise, why don't we pick one date? I mean, say the 31st and say you're gonna do 3 boards on the 31st or 4 boards on the 31st and get those 38 residentials heard. Because there's 38 residentials and 7 commercials, according to this report,
Right.
that have not been scheduled yet. That's not a significant amount of.
Correct. But the postponements can be plugged in as well.
Correct.
It's not just the 45.
But there's the 58 of those, and and there's actually 43 commercial. I'm going to assume most of the 90-day requests out are commercials.
Yes.
Are we correct?
Yes.
I mean, we're less than 100.
So I'm okay with that.
Let's just pick a
It's only
day.
Ms. Brown, is that correct? It's only 100?
I'm
Property.
sorry. 100 what total?
Yeah.
No, the total amount that have to be scheduled, they include anything that has not been scheduled, anything that has been postponed, and anything that is still suspended per review by our assessors. So
And the
those
total of those 3
of
variables.
154.
Okay, then I'm good with that. If we had started with that, I'm good with, let's just
Okay,
get
so-
this finished in December and I'm fine.
Let's consider the 30th then, not the 31st.
Yeah.
I think you'll have more pushback from everybody. And some people have already used their one postponement, so it could look like we're trying to push the envelope.
We're not talking any postponements, we're talking initial schedules.
No, all of which,
And,
any that can be scheduled, the Lori said.
okay,
Yeah, we're
Some,
okay.
if we haven't had field reviews, you can't schedule.
yeah, suspends you can't.
Right, can't force it.
So with regard to my initial question, we're going to schedule anything that we can schedule on December 30th.
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing from everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so then that goes to my next question. It was based on the 90-day request for the extension. When possibly in February would you want those to be heard?
What is the deadline for the 90 days? Worst case-
It goes to the first week of February, like February 1st.
Well, what day of the week is that, Ms. Brown?
Saturday.
That's a Saturday, I believe.
Okay.
So
The
are we
3rd?
so you want commercials to come in on, if it's commercial, we still
Yeah.
want to assume that commercials will do Tuesdays and Thursdays and residential Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Yes,
So make it the 4th then.
the 4th, Tuesday. Yes,
Okay.
I think we're all in agreement, right?
I'm in agreement.
Okay.
And there's 58 of those. There's 58.
Right.
You know,
That's one I can't.
we're in a good place.
Okay, then I have additional questions. So I believe it was discussed previously that BPAAR or Ms. Baldwin would provide or has provided in past times administrative postponement list. So can OPA request that be done, if at all possible, on a weekly basis so that we can get a better grip on what we have to have rescheduled? Or
Well, Stephanie did provide you a week or so ago what I had up until that point. So
okay,
I don't even really have anything, pending from that because she already provided, I think it was on a day that I was out of the office. She went ahead and forwarded that over to you.
right. So what I'm asking is, if at all possible, can we get this on a weekly basis if in fact you do have that available?
Yes.
Okay. And then also, I know we had discussed previously about action items from the board meeting that OPA needs to address. I haven't seen that Um, so I know we get emails back and forth from you, Ms. Baldwin, but if we could get the action items from the board meetings that OPA has to address, I would appreciate it. The sooner, the better, so that
Well,
we
I
can
did,
again do what we need to do. I wasn't at the last board meeting, so I haven't seen anything that may have occurred that we should be doing.
well, I do know that Stephanie did send out a message. I don't know if it was, I was copied on it to you or either Mary Beth or Julia with respect to a resend and rehears that was on the last board meeting agenda. And I've
Okay.
also recently sent something over to you with a resend or rehear, and those that the board approved for late filed appeals for
Mhm.
Ms. Mosley, that was sent over as well, and also Liz Sattler. I think she filed a late filed appeal as well.
Yeah, I
And that
got
was sent
something
over.
yesterday or the day before, I believe. But there aren't any other items that we have to address again from the previous board meeting because, like I said, I wasn't there.
Well, I'll take a look at it, Lori, and if there's something else on that list, and it wasn't a lot of things on that list, the
Okay.
last board meeting, I will send it over to you.
Okay. And then finally, exemption hearings. So right now, we have exemption hearings scheduled on December 18th. Um, we have already received 2 postponements from 2 different organizations that are going to adjust the timing of everything on that day. But the other part to this is, well, 2 parts. One, when does BPAAR want us to start having exemption hearings in the new year? We had talked about them being on a quarterly basis. And with regard to the 2 postponements that we have so far, would BPAAR want these done late January, early February? So I'm asking what you all want to do, because again, with regard to scheduling, we have to give them still 30 days
I would
notice.
say January, third or fourth week of January, if you can reschedule those postponements on the exemptions only.
Okay, one sec. So we're looking at the week of the 20th
Okay,
or the 27th.
the week of the 20th,
Okay.
Wednesday, whatever day that is, I'm gonna look.
A Wednesday, you say? That would
Yeah.
be the 22nd.
Wednesday, January 22nd will be, and they don't just have to be after the postponements.
No. I'm saying we don't, I don't have any other exemptions, I believe, that are outstanding as of the time of right now. But I know that I've had 2 organizations that have reached out and postponed already.
January 22nd it is, okay?
As long as everybody's schedule, because I would have to check with Ms. Conley as well, but I wanted
Yeah.
to get a date from you all. And then finally, with regard to doing that, if we're going to do them in January and we want to do them once a quarter, we're going to propose that it would be January, April, July, and October.
Yes,
Okay.
sounds good.
And
Can I
with
make a comment?
yeah.
I don't know that April, so exemptions would be due on March 31
Yeah,
for the applications.
that's right.
So April might not be the best
Too
time.
soon.
It might be too
Okay.
soon. We might, and if we don't have any in the backlog, it might be good to scrap April and just go June or July, whatever
And
month you mentioned.
I think that's fine. I think we would just have to look and see what has come in, and then go from there.
Right,
So
it
that
would be
could
dependent on
possibly,
the agendas and the outcome of the agendas,
right.
But
the
just
exemption
consider doing
agendas.
it quarterly, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd say
Right.
quarterly at minimum to be readdressed if we get a glut of things in, let's say, June, then maybe we have to have a little bit more going on in July.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Actually, if we don't get any exemptions, we won't need to even have anything in June. It depends
Right.
on what comes in on the filing. My understanding is we've cleaned up the backlog, and this January date will be our backlog. Is that correct, Ms. Brown?
Yes,
So we won't have much to hear in April because the deadline is March 31 for 2025.
right. But then what about homesteads? Let's say somebody wasn't granted a homestead and they filed a special based on that.
Again, let's see what comes in and then address.
Right, but we can
Let's
just
see what
keep
comes
it at a
in.
quarterly,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for the idea of when to be scheduled, I think.
Thank you.
Correct.
Exactly. So let's address this in the future.
Yep.
So then the final part to the exemptions is when an exemption hearing is completed, can BPAR update the record, the hearing record to O4A? Because one of the things that happened with regard to scheduling is there was an approved exemption that was granted by BPAR earlier this year, and I wasn't made aware of it. So I went to schedule it, and the representative notified me that it had in fact been approved. So can the hearing records, when the hearing is completed, be changed to O4A as opposed to an OO status? Because there are no hearing notes in there that I would be able to follow
Or do you
to even know what has
coordinate-
happened.
I have a
I'm
question,
sorry?
Ms. Brown. I have a question. Don't you
Yes.
coordinate this with Michelle Conley?
It went through Michelle Conley,
Yeah,
also, yes.
that's your.
And I was told
That's her
that it
field,
was,
right?
again, I was told that these hearings were okay to schedule because of what I pull up is based on the OO status versus the O4A, which is completed.
Okay, I'd like to add to that because I guess there's some confusion on my part too, Lori, with respect to what was done previously in this exemption process, which I'm still trying to streamline it on BPAR's end because I know that I have some help here with updating records to O2A, but it doesn't go through the normal process as one of the residential commercial appeal processes. So whether or not it goes to O2A, which we update for O2A, but who puts the O4A in? So I was assuming that was a task on Michelle Conley's end that updates to O4A. And if I'm incorrect on that, then obviously we would do that on that end too, because that's simple from going to O2A and then making it O4A.
Well, I do know that when I sat in legislative acts and sat in on the hearings, and again, several years ago, back when Mr. Brenner was in the office, he and Mr. Montgomery worked together with um, uh, the young lady before you, Erica, to get the statuses updated. I know I never did it in legislative acts in my role. So when I would see the hearings and see that they were completed, the O4A record was noted by Mr. Brenner or Mr. Montgomery.
Okay.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
That is correct.
I brought, you know what, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I brought this up a couple months ago, and I believe that if we have a workflow process in writing where the left hand knows what the right hand's doing, and I believe I suggested at the time that the chairman and Carolyn Brooks meet with Barbara and you to do this. And it is my hope, I don't want to make a motion, that we just come up with a workflow, because what Mr. Montgomery did, what they did in the past, Ms. Schroeder and I have talked about this, it's totally different than what we're attempting to do now. I see all these hearings on the 18th, and I'm holding my breath thinking, how are we going to get these disposed of? Because we have a process on taxables that works, where they go out, but on the exemptions, there's just too many loose ends, and I'm not pointing fingers. I think we can improve the process. And it is
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, then hopefully everybody can get together and, Mr. Fagerstein, if you will, set the meeting up. I'd like to attend as well, because I've been,
Now, is this in addition to the meeting that Ms. Brooks has put out there for people to participate in, or are you talking about a separate meeting
this is a
completely?
separate meeting, because I think we should have one meeting focused on the exemptions workflow between BPAAR and OPA. And I don't think it's rocket science, I really don't.
I don't think it's difficult, but again, something as simple as not having a hearing record closed
agree.
appears to OPA when we're scheduling that this hearing still needs to be heard.
Yeah, and on that case, you said you didn't coordinate that with Michelle Conley, right? Those are two different things going on.
Say it one more
Mr.
time, I'm
Sully,
sorry.
Mr. Sully, we coordinate with everyone before we schedule the hearings to make sure they need heard. And then once they're heard, historically, and as you said, we can change this, but historically, the BPAAR sent out all the letters and updated the hearing records to correspond so that when the letter was sent out, the hearing record was updated to show it was completed. I did email just yesterday in hopes of supporting this process, a list of exemption hearings that are not yet marked as completed that had scheduled hearing dates in the past. And it's not a very big list, but it is a list, and that might help when we have this conversation in the future.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're on the right path.
Yeah, I did see that, Mary Beth. And tomorrow, when I have support here, we'll go ahead and update that and clean that up. We'll take
That would be great. Thank you. Yeah, because Michelle and I were trying to get to the bottom of the ones that we still needed letters for, and I could not answer that question from IAS, which it would be great if I could.
Yes, and you know what, that's one of the questions I had, to see what letters that you are looking for, because I have provided letters in the past, but I still wanted to see what you all may not have received, because I know that John Simcoe stopped by the office looking for one that I had already provided to him. So that would be a good thing if you could provide me a list with that, and I'll get that cleaned up as well. Because it just could be just a matter of giving you a copy of it.
Mr. Snipe, if I may, let's set up a separate meeting on the workflow process for exemptions and move on. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Brown, for your report this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we're going to move on to Ms. Brooks from OPA. Any items from her?
Ms. Brooks is on another call. I did check with her to see if she had anything, and the only item we just discussed, which is the letters that we don't have yet. I think Ms. Connolly got 7 or 8 recently, but we did have more exemption hearings in the last quarter. So that's it.
Please send that to me if you will, Ms. Snyder, if you would send that to me. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. Takes us to our items from our board administrator, Ms. Baldwin.
I have some late filed appeals that Ms. Shrimp took a look at and reviewed, and for the most part, all 3 late filed appeals, A, B, and C, all of them were denials on its face because it did not meet.
Does not meet the criteria.
Yes. So, and that would be for 7, I'm just gonna read parcel ID 2 A as in Apple 127, I think it's 1402. And then 4C, and I apologize, there's a correction on the agenda here. That's 604C 315. Then there's 602M 206 and 960B 215. All of those to be denied.
So it would be a motion to deny the late filed appeal request for the parcels as read into the record.
Yeah, the items on the agenda 7A, all of these with the correction on B, which was 604C 315, correct?
Yes.
But everything else I'm looking at, I would move that we deny the request for late appeal. So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, takes us to hearing officer renewals.
Yes. I placed the hearing officer renewals on the November 7th agenda, which was tabled. I'm placing it back on the agenda today for the individuals that were submitted before, with an exception of Mr. Ben Musial, as he has resigned. So we would need to update this to remove him from this list. But I think, and I looked to the board on this, the reason why we had tabled this was because of the contracts for all residential hearing officers to be paid at a rate of $250 per day.
Same rate,
Same rate,
that's
yes.
all. Yeah. And I guess we need a
A
motion.
motion to approve.
Motion to approve the list as presented by our board administrator. And the only deletion would be Mr. Ben Musial. I assume that he's sent something in writing?
He has.
Okay. And I move that we accept it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I abstain.
Okay.
Does
All
Mary
right,
Beth have something to say?
I
Ms. Schneider?
just had a question if, about the late filed appeals. Barbara, does the board send notices to the people who were denied?
Yes.
Okay, great. There was something that came through yesterday and the woman is, and I know the board voted on it and she's claiming that she doesn't know what happened. So I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay. Takes us to our board approval list.
Yes.
And item A, item A says tax year 2022. Item B is tax year 2023. Item C is interim tax year 2024. Item D is tax year 2025, first parcel ID 1, G is in George 125. E is tax year 2024 with first parcel ID 83P 225. Ms. Pianzo, do you have any polls or recusals?
None.
Ms. Thornton Laura?
None for me.
Mr. Fargenstein?
I do. I'm sorry if you can't hear me. Item 376, blocking lot 1127 E 65.
Okay.
And that's a recusal, Mr. Fargenstein, not a poll?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Sully, do you have any polls or
None for me.
recusals? Okay, and none for me. We have a motion to approve the list as read into the record.
Move that we approve the list, number 8, board approval list, A, B, C, D, E as written. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. No old business. There appears to be no old business for item number 9. And new business, appeal scheduling, communications. Did we cover that already?
Mr. Chair, A and B, yes, we covered all that. I do have a quick question for the board. Did we ever approve the hearing dates for 2025? I mean, board meeting dates?
Yes, we did.
We did.
I thought we did. I just wanted to make sure.
And it went to the Post Gazette. They're running it.
Okay, is it posted on our webpage?
Not yet. I have to send it to
Okay.
them, but yes.
I thought we
approved
did.
it, yes. It just went to the Post Gazette yesterday.
Okay.
It's running today. It's in the paper today.
Okay, Mr. Snipe, I have nothing else to bring up on this.
Mr. Snipe, I would ask for an executive session to discuss personnel, please.
Okay, we will do that.
Thank you.
If there are no other items, we will adjourn and go to executive session.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy,
Yes.
you
Hold on.
We still have,
here, you want to give me a call?
I'm relaxed.
Yeah, I can give you a call, Wade.
Thanks.
Lou, I'm sorry, you wanted to
We
say
still have part of the public on the, I see on the screen.
Okay.
I'm gonna log out of this one. Are you guys available to take phone calls? I'm talking,
Yes.
okay. 2 o'clock. Susan, we'll give you a call.
I'm
gonna-
available.
Okay.
Call me.